Thank you, guys. As you're coming back in, please don't forget to mute your mics again. I'm sure that each room, there were 3 rooms. I'm sure each room was able to have one person to represent them. Is there any room that's ready?
I can go first. It's room 3. So we discussed that a monthly update would be key, and then the session should be after 12 for 2 hours. And then we talked about the expectation is more on sustainability, growth, and resource mobilization and marketing. That is group number 3.
Thank you, group number 3.
Did you also speak a bit about, thank you, thank you. Did you also speak a bit about the how we could design those sessions, those 2-hour sessions?
No, I think we're struggling when we didn't have that time. Yeah, sorry.
No problems. Just checking in. Okay, thank you. Okay, group 1, maybe.
Group 2. Okay. Okay, group 2. Our expectations was more on tackling issues regarding marketing, finance, resource mobilization, and more information regarding fundraising. And then for the 90-minute sessions, we said every 2 months to have a session, and then that we can open up to discuss challenges. How can we overcome challenges that we're experiencing as organizations? But the how part, we didn't get to that.
Okay, super. Thank you. Thank you very much. And is group 1 left or group 3? Group 1, no?
Group 1. I'm not sure if you're able to hear me.
Loud and clear.
Awesome. Okay, so what we came up with as suggestions is that maybe we should have the sessions bi-monthly. And then questions should be sent in advance so that it helps with the preparation. And then also what we think should happen so that we get to learn from everybody. Maybe we could have towards the end of the session 5 minutes allocated to 2 or 3 participants who share their experiences in the sector. Because we realize that, you can never say that you know everything. There's always something new that we discover as we go along. So maybe if we have that few minutes that is allocated towards the end of the session where 2 participants have something that they've discovered or learned and they feel that could be beneficial to other participants, and they share it with everybody. Oh, and the last part is, if possible, we would like to have a WhatsApp group for urgent matters. Well, that's if we do agree to having the sessions only bi-monthly instead of monthly. Thank you.
Okay. When someone says bi-monthly, it could mean every second month, or it could mean every second week. What do you hear when you hear bi-monthly?
I think it means every second month.
Every second month. Okay, just like the first group as well. Okay. And then you said in the end one could share the learnings. Was that the learnings in respect to the session or in Changemaker Network or the topic? What was that related to?
I think just the NPO sector as a whole, because I believe the sessions are more focused on capacitating NPOs. So those experiences or things that we come across that we feel that, okay, this is new. I think not many people know this. And, just like what I discovered when I was in PE recently regarding the VAT registration thing,
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, great. Excellent. I think we've noted that. I think that's not so far off what we had in mind. And again, I want to emphasize that should be a shared space. And if we notice after a session that we should take a turn in another direction or a different approach, we could always try that. That's just a loose get-together of ideally like-minded NGOs. That's the idea. I would then start with the first topic. Is that okay, Devane? I would share again my screen. And that always takes a second with me, as you know. And now I'm sharing it. Do you see it?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, I wanted to start with just talking a bit about starting with the marketing component. I took part in most of the presentations of the NGOs when they were in PE. And I did with most of our NGOs a 2-3 hour session at the end of the week when you were here. And in the presentations, I felt sometimes you would listen to a presentation for 5, 6, 7 minutes, but at the end, you're still not sure, what are they actually doing? What is the core of their work? And if we're not achieving, if we have a 5 minutes opportunity to present what we do, we must make sure that we use it. That could be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that we are in front of someone. So I thought when it comes to marketing, we can talk about photos, brochures, website, everything. But if we're not able to summarize what we do in a very, very crisp manner, then we will not be able to use that in all our marketing material. So I would say in the heart of every marketing is a condensed summary of what we do. So if you look at bigger companies, your Coca-Colas, your Facebooks, etc., you all know you would be able to describe in one sentence what they do, and they usually attach a feeling to it as well, you know. And I think that's what we need to achieve in our work as well. So you can see, like I mentioned a couple of steps. I've called the first one the elevator pitch, and that's what I want us to look at today. And we're going to practice that just now. The elevator pitch, I think, comes from the idea that America, obviously, the guys who invented all marketing, and you are in a skyscraper which has 40 floors, and you get in the first floor in the lift in an elevator, let's say together with Bill Gates, and you're driving with Bill Gates 20 floors up. And now you have that so-called elevator pitch. You have maybe 20 floors to speak to Bill Gates about what you do. And then the elevator will open again and Bill Gates leaves. So you must be able, in a very brief summary, to say what you're doing in such a way that Bill Gates says, let's step out the elevator together. I want to hear more. And I think that's the core of all of it. We sit in taxis, we sit in aeroplanes, where people ask us, hey, what are you doing, Jonas? If I then start with, well, in 2009 and this and that, we registered and blah, blah, and there's so many, and you know, poverty, education crisis, they're falling asleep. So I must be able, in a very crisp way, to summarize what I do. That's at the heart of it. At a later stage, then we would go into designing bigger pieces of summary. We would call them building blocks, text building blocks. That is basically short summaries of, for example, your governance, of each of the programs. That gives you a chance, if Bill Gates steps out of the elevator with you, to dive into more components. Or at a later stage, it allows you to write a proposal very quickly because you have so-called text blocks. You have formulated your programs once perfectly. So you must just copy paste and you put it all together. You can write a proposal like that in a very short span of time. And you can decide, what text block do I need? So there are a couple of components. I think the first one that I wanted to do today is the elevator pitch. Elevator pitch, let's say 45 seconds to 1 minute summary of your organization. You want to quickly say who you are, where you work, what you do, why you do it, maybe also how, but you want to do that in a very, very on-point manner without being redundant, without repeating yourself, without saying things in too many words. And what you maybe want to do in that elevator pitch as well is what you call name dropping. Name dropping is when you just by coincidence, you mention something, you know, like but you doing a name dropping means if you don't brag with something, but you mention it as if it's just something small. So let's say you have funding from the Department of Social Development. That is great. And you could like, hey, we're actually approved by Department of Social Development, but you could also just mention it on the side as if it's one of many. You know, yeah, we're supported by Department of Social Development, the corporate sector, VW. You drop some names without, you know, that is name dropping. So that is one thing we want to keep in mind when we do an elevator pitch. You want to think of your keywords. You want to have keywords in mind that you build your elevator pitch around. For Massifundo, that is usually words like holistic. Our education is holistic. Learner-centered is one word that I want to make sure it's always in, you know. Couple of such words that you want to make sure are in. And then you focus on highlights only in an elevator pitch. Our problems, we don't mention. Our struggles, we don't mention. We are marketing here. We're talking about the highlights. We just mentioned the cherry on the top in that elevator. And I know we very often, we're so much in our struggle, and I saw that in some of the presentations as well, that we would mention, yeah, we're funded here, but the problem is, and we don't, and then we go into like a downward spiral in the way we talk about our work. So we want to leave that out in an elevator pitch. We want to create a summary of our work that it sounds like we're perfect, we know what we do, we're on point, and the one who listens knows exactly what we do. Questions about that? Questions about the elevator pitch and that concept? No.
No
Okay.
questions. Sounds.
I quickly put a quick elevator pitch together for a fictional, non-existent NGO, and then I would like us to quickly, each of us, prepare an elevator pitch for our organization, which is not longer than 45 seconds. And then every organization has a chance to introduce that elevator pitch. Introduce yourself so we see you. And then every organization does that elevator pitch. And we can give a quick feedback afterwards if there is someone has an idea of like, it gives us a chance to practice, it gives us a chance to give feedback, and it gives us a chance to find out about who's in the room. An elevator pitch could be, for example, I wrote something, the Rural Excellence NPO implements holistic psychosocial support programs to disadvantaged children and youth in currently 4 impoverished communities. So you have already an idea of what the organization. We annually reach over 200 children with high quality, keyword, one-on-one interventions, and have evidence for hundreds of lives changed. So there's a bit of emotional thing as well, you know, the truth, like lives changed, you know. And then we're operational for almost 1 decade. That could be 6 years, but a decade sounds like 10, almost 10, you know, almost a decade. You want to make it sound bigger. And we're fully registered as whatever you are, you know, you want to drop some words, you know, PBO, NPC, whatever it is, you know. We have a team of whatever employees our supporters are, and that's where you could do some name dropping, you know. So you wanna write something like that for your organization. You can mention that in 45 seconds to introduce yourself, less than a minute. That would be the idea. I love this session, by the way. We have a queen in the house and we have a princess in the house. So that is, it won't get more royal than this, by the way. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jonas. So now we're going to go into so to those organizations that are here with their colleagues, I'll put you into breakout rooms, but for everyone else, you'll obviously just sit in your own space and take about 5 minutes to put this together. Please don't be intimidated by this because you've done it several times. Maybe you just didn't call it an elevator pitch, but you've done it. You've done it for me, definitely. And now, thanks to Jonas, we've just guided in what is expected in such a thing. Maybe we've done it, but we forgot to name drop, or maybe we didn't mention certain things so specifically. So now with this guidance, plus that we've already done it, we'll just take 5 minutes to put something together, if that's okay. So I'll just divide the organizations that are here with their colleagues but on a different device. You will join breakout rooms. We have 9 organizations, if I counted correctly, present. So I think it's just Queen and Elissa, and then it's Vishak that will be put into breakout rooms. The rest, let's just take some 5 minutes to write or prepare mentally this elevator pitch. Okay.
Well, stop sharing. Yeah, no? Bam.
Yeah.
So while we wait to get into the breakaway rooms, just a reminder, we don't mention everything in an elevator pitch. We mention just the core essence of what we are about. We pick the heart of our organization. At later conversations, we have time to mention what else we've done and all the other activities we do, but we try to just mention the core to spark interest.
Okay, awesome. Everyone is back from the breakout rooms. So as mentioned, we've now prepared our elevator pitch in the last 5 minutes, and we will each have 1 minute to share our pitch as an organization. Now that is, there are 9 organizations present, if I'm not mistaken. And then in that, please introduce yourself as well. Yes, so just start by introducing yourself and doing the elevator pitch. Is there any organization that is ready?
If the internet connection allows, it would be nice to switch on the camera. And I would ask everyone else to listen so that we can give feedback. I know we all have our own elevator pitch in mind right now, and then it could happen that we end up listening to one another because everyone just thinks about their own elevator pitch. But now whoever's pitching, let's put our own on the side, focus so that we can give quality feedback, so that we can receive quality feedback as well. Okay. We can also start alphabetically with Broadway, for example, or Boys Social, or Bongani, or backwards with Queen, or SAC.
Okay, since we said Bongani will go last due to his network.
Oh, yes, true.
Yes, we can start backwards with Zach.
Okay.
Um, Zach, are you ready? If not, Caller, you can go.
I think Kolo was ready from Broadway, no?
Okay.
Sure.
Does your camera work so that we can see you when you pitch?
It should work. Let's see. Let me just quickly do that. It should be coming on. Can you see me?
Hello. We can.
Okay. All right,
Floor
I
is
can't see.
yours.
Okay. It's Kolo Makena from Broadway Legacy Foundation, established in 2018 from Provincedal. We focus on youth skill program, psychosocial support, change maker network program. We've been funded by Beyond Zero for Human Rights program and also under COVID-19 vaccine rollout, which was funded by GIZ and Global Care Group. The idea is to become the voice to the voiceless, reach marginalized communities with basic services, and we have reached over 10,000 people with our interventions this far. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just for, yes, everyone, I will be timing you. Thank you so much, Caller, for, I think that was 20 seconds, so that was great. Thanks.
Oh my word, that was fast.
It was
okay.
only the second floor in your elevator.
Leaves room for questions. Who knows? Thank you so much. We'll then go to, let's go bottom up just for order.
I would like to ask the group whether we have feedback for Kolo from Broadway.
Oh, okay.
When you listened to the pitch and you had heard her for the first time, would you know what the organization is doing? Would you have a good feeling? What was missing? What was maybe a bit too vague? Any feedback for her to improve? Okay, that.
Sorry, Jonas.
is-
I think I had the first part of the speech, but due to network, we couldn't hear her properly when she was presenting the other side, the other part of the organization speech. So it will be a bit difficult for me to.
Okay. Anyone who heard the full pitch, who has some feedback?
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, boys,
Can you
hello.
hear me? Oh, hello. Once more. I just it will be just the highlights for the organization as well as the stuff that they have. How many maybe of the staff? How big is the organization and how they have been doing until now? I think that is just all.
Okay, thank you. Any other feedback? Debane, feedback from your side?
I think for me, the only thing is, as much as you have 45 seconds, have a balance between talking fast and getting your message across. You don't want to talk so fast that if somebody blinks, they're like, what did you just say? You know, that's all. But it was great. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I wrote down the same point. I also thought you spoke very fast. And you must consider in an elevator pitch, someone hears it for the first time and they don't have it written in front of them. So you want to make sure you bring your few points across that you want to bring across. I like the way you kind of made it a bit emotional when you were figuratively speaking. And you did the name dropping quite nicely. You know, there were big names as funders that sounded great, where one would be interested to find out more. When you mentioned, for example, for an external, when you mentioned, and we're doing the Changemaker network, I'm sure people wouldn't know what that is, for example. So when it comes to programming, you maybe rather want to say a word like we do a peer-to-peer program, or we activate youth in currently 5 high schools as change makers to make sure people visualize and can see something in front of their inner eye when you speak to them. Because I'm sure, like, we're doing the change maker program, people wouldn't know what is that. So their name dropping when it comes to programs is not clever. For example, if I pitch Masifunde, I won't do things like, and then we do Learn for Life, and we do AOC, and we do the MCN, and then people are like, what are you talking about, Schumacher? You know. So that is internally, we know those terms, we know what it is. But then when I pitch for the first time, I usually say we do a life skill program, which is from grade 3 to grade 12. You know, we do whatever creative programs, extramural programs like choir, drama, arts. So I want to make sure they visualize what I say. And I leave those abbreviations out. The name dropping I do when it comes to funders. There it's important, you know, the GIZ people know the DSD, the department, that's where you want to drop, you know, those names. That would have been my feedback. Okay. Great. Thanks. And thanks for going first.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone who's ready now? Anyone who would like to go?
I can go.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you.
Can you see me? Yeah, apologies for that. I had to stop by because I see the time is gone, so I stopped by anyway so that I can attend the meeting. So I didn't want to do the meeting while I'm driving. So we are social change. It's actually a HIV prevention program, but focuses on clinical side as well as psychosocial side. So we actually do that in the Yandeni, Eastern Cape. We do it in schools and clinics and the communities as well. So we have our clinical staff that goes from nurses up to the health counselors, and we've got our psychosocial staff side that goes from the social workers up to the child and youth workers. We've been operating for more than 5 years from the communities and in school, young persons from the ages of 15 to 24. And we are mainly focusing on females for the first 2 years, but we incorporated the boys because we also have the programs as well up to now. So it's only 15 to 24, but we are aiming on expanding the organization further to the ages because it's not only the 15 to 24 that's the problem. We have had our relationships that we built for this past 5 years from all the department stakeholders, and we've been working very fine up to now with the campaigns that we've built that are trying as much as to deal with the social fields as well as to promote the healthy living to the young people. And that is all.
Thank you very much. I struggled a bit with the connectivity to hear you clearly. I ask into the group who would be able to repeat what Boyce said, if that was an elevator pitch. Do you think it came across what social change is doing? By the raise of hand. Or you just unmute and you share.
Well, difficult for me to hear what he was saying because of the vibration, so I couldn't say anything on the things.
Okay, you didn't understand. Okay, thank you, Queen. Kolo, did you understand more?
I picked up that he mentioned in running programs regarding HIV and AIDS. And yeah, that's what I picked up, but the rest I couldn't hear much.
Okay. Okay, and we all had a sound issue.
Do you want me to go again? Can you hear me well now?
Yes. Let's try to do it again. Try to stick to 45 seconds with your elevator pitch. There's quite a bit of background noise. If you can reduce that a bit, that would be great.
Perhaps I should move into the car. I'll try to do that quickly as possible.
Okay. Are you on it already?
Okay. Can I just get into the car?
Yeah. Okay. I wouldn't know how much time you would need. Should we maybe slot in someone else and we give you a chance later on again? Who would be ready to just share their pitch with us? We can go back to social change afterwards, just to avoid being time vampires.
I think I'm in now.
You're in. Okay, let's give it a shot. The stage is yours.
Okay. I just said we are Songe Social Change, and we operate in the Eastern Cape, in the Nyandeni South District. We are mainly focused on the adolescents and young people between the ages of 15 to 24. And we are a HIV prevention program, but as well we focus on the psychosocial services. So our staff runs from the clinical to psychosocial staff. We are working with different stakeholders from the departments that run from Home Affairs up to Department of Health. So we've been working good for the past 5 years into trying to do campaigns and promoting the healthy living to the young people in and out of school. And that has been working very well up until now. So that is all I can say for now.
Cool. Thank you. That was much, much better. Very clear, very good pitch. I can very well visualize what you're doing. It sounded very well connected, the organization. You mentioned bigger institutions, the Home Affairs, Department of Health. So you don't work in isolation. I can see you're part of a bigger network and of government institutions. That is great. I have an idea of what you're focusing at. I can see you going to clinics. I can see you going to schools. I can see you campaigning. So for me personally, I can visualize what you guys are doing, and I would know exactly what to speak to and what to ask you if I had follow-up questions. So from my side, that was a good elevator pitch. Feedback and from the group for boys. What was maybe missing? Anything that you guys were maybe missing, or you say like, you should add that? Well, you could mention. Okay, Bongani, yes, thank you.
I think how long the organization has been operating for.
Okay, I think you just mentioned what was missing for him was how long the organization has been operating. Maybe it wasn't clear. I know you mentioned something about 5 years. I don't know, was it linked to a specific program or the organization as a whole?
Yeah, you mentioned the 5 years. From my side, what you could add, boys, would be a quick idea of how big is the organization. That's always good, you know, if you have a substantial budget, for example, that could be a good indication. Our annual budget is 500,000, 1 million, 5 million. whatever. If the budget is not so big, you don't mention it. You could maybe mention we have a team of 20 people, you know, 5 employees, 15 volunteers, whatever. You might want to mention where you registered. You might want to mention if you have audited financial statements. So I would usually in a elevator pitch add something operational as well, to get a feeling of how established is the organization, how formalized is the organization. But yeah, thank you, boys. Let's continue. Who would like to pitch next? Say Patti from the Mishak Foundation. Oh yeah, we just met in PE in Beja, I remember.
Yes, we did. Thank you very much for the opportunity, but I'm going to give this over to my colleague, Timbabile. Thank you.
Debane, I didn't catch that. Did you catch it?
Yes, she's given it over to Timbakile, so we're just waiting for Timbakile,
Okay.
who's in the group, to unmute. And if you can, please put your video on as well. Thanks. Awesome.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Can you see me and can you hear me?
100%.
Okay. I am Tembekile Tlupu. I am a center manager at Mishek W Foundation. We currently have 3 branches in Gauteng, but I'm the center manager of the branch in Heidelberg. Mishek W Foundation was registered in 2011 to offer psychosocial support in schools. In 2011, we created a platform for youth development through training, mentorship, and coaching. We are currently accredited with almost 10 different SETAs, and we have thus far been able to train over 500 learners with various SETA accredited courses. We are currently registered as a PBO, and we work currently with private companies and DSD. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Straight to the point, no? Any feedback for Tembekile?
I think from my side, I think he did very well. We know where he's based. We know what programs they're offering, including accredited courses that they're providing. So yes, I think I'm happy with how he represented the organization. Thank you.
I would second that, yes. Any constructive feedback, what he could have improved, what was missing for you? Or a big question that you're like, But otherwise, no, from my side, I remember when you guys pitched in Portal in Beja last week, went in a lot of little small things. Today it was very clear. You just showed us the access of your work, and I like there's the accreditation, there's the SETA, there's the 500 learners, there's the 3 branches. You know, one can immediately visualize that in front of the inner eye. What size of organization it is, what level of establishment we're looking at. So that's great. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. If we have no further feedback for the Mishak Tabudi Foundation, we move on.
Just from my side. Sorry, just from my side, I think I would have just liked to know more about the team that's pulling off this big, 3 branches, all of that. Just would have liked more insight on who and how. Is it volunteers? Is it staff members, permanent? Are you traveling up and down? That type of a thing. Thanks so much.
Okay.
Yeah, with that, that might be also interesting to name drop the budget. You know, if you are accredited with so many CETAs and you push so many learners, I'm sure you have quite a budget. You might want to mention that in the right setting, because partners look for partners who can, whatever, like if you push a 5 million or a 10 million budget, that makes a big difference. And a partner might be interested, like, oh, if they can manage so much money, they can administer my money as well. So let me plow in more funding into it, you know? But yeah, otherwise it was very clear. Gave me good understanding. Thank you. Okay. I think Queen had her camera on earlier on already. She was ready to pitch. I'm going to give it a shot.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I'm using the same. So let me start. Good day. My name is Queen Baloyi. I'm working for Kanimamba Training and Resource Center, which is based in Limpopo. It's a registered NGO. Our main aim is to assist communities in getting access for ECD services. We are currently working with 380 ECD centers, and which are reaching 12,500 children every year. For the past 2 decades, we have assisted more than 150 communities to start ECD centers, and we have helped to create 5,000 jobs for the youth. And we are also offering ECD training on ECD level 1, 4, and 5, which are full qualification. We have been able to achieve this through the assistance and the help of government department, to mention few, Department of Education and DSD. We are also getting assistance from big funders like lotteries and HCI. We are working with a team of 25 employees in order to achieve all these things. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Queen. And congrats for having your video on and the sound at the same time, and it wasn't breaking. That was great. I know we tried that in the past and it never worked. Limpopo is overtaking. It was a great pitch. I give it to the group. Did everyone have a good understanding of what the Kanimamba Center in Limpopo is doing? Anyone who wants to give some feedback?
According to what is providing early childhood training to educators there, and everyone training because they are CETA accredited, and then they are working with 25. That's all from my side.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Any other feedback? Debonay, were you happy with that pitch?
Yes, I was happy. I think also just when I hear the name Kanimamba Training, and is it resource or research?
Resource.
Resource. I think it just covers a lot of the training that you do. I would have wanted to know maybe what more resources you have, what other things you do outside of just the training. Yeah, but it covered everything. It was really clear. Thank you so much.
Yes, I think so too. It was very clear. It was well structured. You went from the level of registration into the number of ECDs, the number of communities, the number of staff members. So you were kind of building it. It was easy to follow. You did a nice name dropping of government institutions and funders, so it gave us a good feeling of how you're doing what you're doing. I know of the struggles you're going through, and you didn't mention any of them, so it sounded very like a very strong force there in Limpopo, and that's exactly what we want when we talk marketing, so that was great. I agree with Debane, there could have been, when you mentioned you have 380, or is it 38, I don't know, 380 ECD centers that you're supporting. There could have been, I would have expected, just to mention a bit, what support is it that you're rendering? But in general, it was very clear and it was very, very well put together. Thank you. Next, who's next? Let's go to Waterberg now, Mr. Zach.
Thank you. Can you see me? Good afternoon. Can you see me?
Yes, Zach,
Yes.
we can see you.
And we hear you.
Okay, thank you. You can hear me. Okay, thank you so much. My name is Zakara Siku. I'm from the Waterberg Welfare Society. It's a Limpopo-based public and grassroots organization which aims to contribute to the socio-economic development initiative through developing communities to be resilient and thrive through access to our portfolio of services such as child and youth care services, accredited IT training center, community radio station, school-based programs which aimed at developing, empowering, and building capabilities among youth and children. We do this through working in collaboration with Masifunde Beyond Zero, Department of Social Development, and private sector. We pride ourselves with a good record and footprint in the successful manner we have continued to roll out our programs for the past decades. We created over 1,438 work opportunities through the expanded public works program, reaching over 26,000 listenership through the community radio station. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Before we ask feedback from everyone, I would want to ask you, leave your video on, please, for us, Zach, if data allows. Turn around the piece of paper that you were reading from, and do the very pitch again, but look into the the cell phone, and look into look at us and give us that pitch again, and speak a bit slower.
Okay. Okay. I'm Zakaria Suku from the Waterberg Welfare Society. We are a grassroots community organization based in Limpopo. Our aim is, sorry. I was reading. Can I pause?
Have we lost him?
No, he just asked to pause because I think he was reading. Again, guys, you've introduced,
Oh,
you've
okay.
done this pitch
Okay.
numerous times. Yeah, but I know how it can get. You may be so focused on saying this one thing that you forget that other thing. So, okay, and that's time.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you. My name is Zakara Siku. I'm from the Waterberg Welfare Society in the Waterberg District Municipality. We are a community-based organization focusing on various services that we are providing. We are providing services like child and youth care services, youth and development program, IT training center, community radio station. So far we have reached over 26,000 communities through community radio station. We also provided opportunities for over 1,400 people through the expanded public works program. We are doing these programs in collaboration with Beyond Zero, Masifunde, Department of Social Development, and other private sectors. Thank you so much.
Great. Much better if you don't read and if you speak freely. Feedback to Zach? Ebony?
Oh, are you going in?
Oh, we have a problem with time. I wasn't aware, Ebony. Oops.
Sorry, Boyce, you can go first.
Oh no, it's just that what you mentioned about the radio station, I think I like that because I think it's a very good strategy to promote the program as well. I think I like that what you mentioned about the radio station.
Yeah. I think
Okay.
for me, I think maybe I would have just wondered a bit about the team again, who's all doing the work. And yes, there was something else that I just forgot, but just the team mainly.
Mm. My feedback would be, I remember as well when we chatted a lot in Abeja, you're speaking very fast and you swallow words at times, and then it doesn't come across. You say great things, but information gets lost. My advice for you would be film yourself when you do the presentation, just whatever, selfie mode, and watch it and get a feeling and practice to key information that you speak slowly and clearly. Less is more, but you want to make sure you bring across the message. I think there you can improve. I think what you say is on point, but I think on the how, you lose audience if you're too fast. A bit like Kolo at the beginning was also rushing, and then people cannot follow. And then you can say whatever you want. If you're too fast or you swallow words, then you won't get your message across.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, just the one thing I wanted to add. Remember, we started with an example of what an elevator pitch looks like. So we're obviously mindful of that now in our sharing. But also that emotional aspect, just that one phrase or something to make me emotionally connect to what you're saying. Yes, thank you.
Who's next? We had Queen, we had Kolo, boys and girls, maybe. Are they still in the room? No, we've lost them. Get a party. Did everyone pitch?
It's
Pongani.
Tendani
I'm not sure
then.
whether.
Pongani and Tendani.
Okay, maybe let's do Tendani. I'm not sure whether Pongani's connection is strong enough. It's a bit bumpy. Tendani, over to you. Want to give it a shot? Famsa, Bembe. Ah, Tendani. Now I remember you. How are you doing?
Yes. Can you give me just a second? I just want to sit down. I was walking.
Of course. Okay, but an elevator pitch you can do in standing as well, because in the elevator you don't sit, you stand, my man. So. Okay, shall we give Bongani a shot? You want to try Bongani, whether your connection allows us? But we'll intervene in case it's too bumpy.
I don't know whether my connection is allowing me. Am I
Now you're
heard?
clear? Now you're clear. You can give us your elevator pitch.
I tell you, my name is Bongani Matuchini from Tolulwazi Development Organization, which is an NGO working at the Eastern Cape Province, Alfred Nzo District Municipality, around Matatiel Municipality, local municipality. We have been in operation for 20 years, since 2003. And then we are working together with National Lottery for Poverty Elevation Program, Department of Labor for COIDA program, and Foundation for Human Rights for SEJA program, and Hlanganisa funding our poverty elevation program. And then we are doing all this to make a change by providing school uniform, organizing and facilitating human rights workshops and COIDA workshops. And then we have a drop-in center, which is accommodating at least 35 children a day. And then we have already provided seeds and seedlings, fertilizer and insecticides to 20 projects. And we have provided a uniform to 260 children. We have provided food parcels to 300 individuals. And then at the present, we are having a limited staff. From the past, we had a lot of staff because we had 10 field workers, and then we had 10 staff with 5 caregivers and 5 field workers. That is all for today.
Thank you, Bongani. Feedback to Bongani? Say, Party, what did you think of Bongani's pitch? You know each other?
I don't think we know each other. However, his pitch was, I think what I liked about his pitch was all the highlights that he threw in there. You know, the work that they have done, all that they have achieved, and also, you know, the big organizations or departments that they currently working with. So yeah, that was the highlight for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any improvements from everyone? Anyone? Debane, were you any feedback for Bongani?
Feedback would be the time, because he went quite over time in terms of the picture.
Okay. Okay. I would recommend that you look at the category terms for what you're doing instead of going into detail. And that's also feedback for many, at least at the presentations that I saw in Kabeja. Instead of saying we're delivering seedlings to organizations, which is very operational, nitty-gritty, you're working on the food security topic, you know. Instead of saying we handed out uniforms, you could maybe find an umbrella term and say, like, we're trying to create whatever, like we contribute to make education, whatever more, whatever the umbrella term could be. So to go less on the nitty-gritty grassroots level and let it sound a bit bigger, that could be a feedback. But I also like the way you connected your programs to funders. But I must say, when I listened, I could see what you're doing, but I felt you're in many different areas, and I was wondering, how do they connect together? So for an elevator pitch, I would recommend focus on one thing. What is the overall? That would be then theory of change. What are you aiming towards? And then that we know that's what Bongani's organization is doing. Thank you. Okay, now we're going to. Have we lost him? Tendani. Famsa Vembe. Over to you, sir.
Yes.
Oh, you're running away now. You're driving.
I'm here. So, Famsa Vembe, you know, we offer care and support services to families. We've been offering services to families for the past 10 years as Famsa Vembe. So our main aim is to preserve family life through a wide range of services. So including you targeting your individuals, families, organizations, and communities. So our services as Famsa Vembe, we've categorized them into baskets. We have got counseling basket where you talk about your individual counseling, your couple counseling, your relationship counseling, your family counseling, your divorce counseling, to name a few. And then we have got also an employee support service basket, whereby we provide support services to companies and employees to give them counseling to people in a corporate era. And then we have got a training basket, whereby you provide your basic counseling, your trauma debriefing, your mediation, bereavement, and grief counseling trainings to other CBOs, community-based organizations. And then we also have your education and preventive services for children and youth, whereby we call them whereby it's like it's life skills programs, whereby we do your relationship skills, your self-awareness, HIV and AIDS, sexual violence, sexual awareness, problem solving. And also we have got education and preventive services to adults, whereby we do your conflict management, anger management, stress management. And then we also capacitate community-based organizations, faith-based organizations with skills, with parenting skills, with fatherhood programs.
Time. Okay. Bongani? Okay. When we said 5 minutes earlier on to write down an elevator pitch, I bet you didn't do it. My feedback, you went way over time, and what you went into the habit of listing everything you do. You don't want to miss anything. So you give example after example after example. That's how many presentations here in Rebecca were as well. When just people switch off to listen, you know, we do counseling for fathers, counseling for mothers, you know, it's like in Forrest Gump, shrimp salad, shrimp steaks, shrimp this. So we try to, my request to you is sit down and try to write really an elevator pitch, how you can present what you do in keywords without getting in too much detail. Because people stop listening. I'm sure if I would ask now, everyone would remember 2-3 words, but the essence of what FAMSA does in Wembe, I think gets forgotten. So yeah, that would be my feedback, to really write down a core, brief 45 seconds to 1 minute pitch. Without all of those bullet points that you list. The bullet points are in a proposal. Yeah, and you can talk, you know what you're doing. But yeah, that would be my feedback. Look at the slide, we'll share that later on, that you make sure you tick all those points. Other feedback to Tendani? Did you feel like that as well, Debani?
Yeah, I did, especially because when you did your elevator pitch for me, I loved the essence of FAMSA. And I'm like, you know, like the essence, exactly what Jonas said, like connecting to the process. It's an amazing job, but it didn't come across that way when you list it in bullet points.
Less is more. We're talking marketing here. So when we talk marketing, you reduce it to the core essence of it. And that's what we want to learn. That's what we want to practice. That's why we did today's session, so that we can listen to other organizations. And by listening to someone else, we maybe realize, oops, I know from myself as well, that I want to make sure I don't miss anything. So and then I lose people. So we must practice that. And marketing is all about bringing it down, like to 1 or 2, 3 core sentences that grab people's attention, that create interest, that spark interest, and then you build a relationship based on that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, for example, you could have added like that you work in a holistic community approach, working within schools, within families, you know, just more specific, because essentially that is what you were getting to, but the specifics took away from it.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Okay, that took way longer. I thought 9 times 1 minute pitch is 9 minutes, maybe 10. That was unrealistic. I'm sorry. Time-wise, we've moved on quite a bit. Now we're over time basically, already.
Yes.
What shall we do? Where to from here? Maybe my question into the group: Does working together like that add value? Were we able to get something out of a session like that? Should we quickly do a Q&A? Is there anything someone wants to share with others? Are there particular questions around that topic that we should quickly answer before we log out? Maybe a quick flashlight, 2-3 voices. Does that add value to listen to others, to hear how others pitch, for example, today? And were we able to take something out for ourselves? Or did we steal your time? And that was not the intention.
Yes, Jonas.
Yes, Tendani, over to you.
Yes, okay. The information, the session was very informative. So whereby we get to listen to other NGOs, what they're doing, because you know some of the things we find that some other NGOs are doing them in Eastern Cape or in Tebera. You also have to copy those things and also try to implement them this side. And then there's some activities whereby you are not doing that you can also use them, also include them on your services, and also to hear from other organizations. It's a very good thing, because I really like to benchmark, because you can't know everything and you can't do everything. So where you know that some other NGOs, they excel in this area or they excel in this sector, we can be able to liaise with them, and then they help us there and there, so that we can have better organizations. Thank you. But the information was, the session was very informative.
Okay. Thank you, Tendani. So Tendani was speaking to synergies. That is great. And that was the a spin-off of today's session, hopefully, that we see where are organizations that do similar work. If we do ECDC trainings, hey, we should speak to Kanimamba, how are they doing it? Or if we want to register for a CETA to become accredited, there is a foundation and they're in Gauteng, let me call them. So that is important to know those so that we can pick up the phone, learn from each other. Queen has her hand up.
Okay. The session was very good. It was very interesting, and it has helped me. I'm just wondering, the session was being recorded. Are we going to get this? Because this could help us when I have to prepare, and then I will be able to use it as a reference source of a tool. Thanks.
We can upload it in the CSO space, no? Very soon, once we and share it there. Okay, maybe a third voice. I see Zach's microphone is off.
Oh, no. Thank you so much. For me, it was a very interesting session. I really enjoyed it, especially learning from other organizations. And I think we had a clear focus of why are we doing the session. So we kept on the expectation. I think I'm really enjoying the session. Thank you so much for that.
Okay, okay. I wanna thank you, Zach. I wanted to add to what Tendani just said, because what Tendani was speaking about was the synergy. So Tendani mentioned, oh, it's interesting to see what the organizations are doing. That is correct. What I want you to practice is to look at the how. So today's session was not necessarily about the what, it's about how. How are they packaging their work? If you look at other NGOs, I want you to look not only at what they do, I want you to create the view of how do they get the message across. So if you talk marketing, you want to know, how do they use photographs to tell a story? How do they describe their work in such a way that it is appealing? So I want us to, that is how we learn, that's how Masifunde improves, by constantly modeling others. We constantly looking in the space and think, that looks amazing. And then you look behind the scenes, it might not be that amazing, but marketing is the front. How do they do it? How do they sell it? How do they get their message across? And then in Masifunde, like a colleague of mine in the management team, we would sit together and like, how do we create our Facebook? How do we create our presentation in such a way that we achieve what they achieve? What can we learn from them? So I want to motivate you to walk through the NGO space a lot with a question of how, not only what. What do they do is one thing, but like, how do they package it? How do they sell it? How do they market it? What tools do they use? How do they use language? How do they use language? How do they use pictures, keywords, graphics, maybe? That's all marketing, and we must look into that. That you will, everything that Masifunde learned, we learned basically by doing and by modeling others. And I want to motivate you to get into that space as well. So if you upload that video, look through some of the pictures again, the elevator pitches, and think of, that was great. Why was that elevator pitch speaking to me? What did he or she do that spoke to me? And what did he and she maybe do, someone else, and it didn't touch me? Why not? To learn what are the things that we need to copy into our elevator pitch to make sure we reach people's ideally hearts, and from the hearts, the wallet, so that people are willing to plow funding into our work. And that has to do with two things, with the what and the how. We want to speak to people's heart, we want to emotionalize, and that is ultimately marketing. So yeah, I think today was a good exercise. I wanted to go a bit deeper into the whole marketing side of things. We can do that at the next stage. I want to just open the space, the floor, for Q's and A's. Is anyone sitting here right now who has a specific question, marketing related, but even maybe not marketing related? If someone sits here and is like, I'm stuck with something, drop the question. We can see maybe someone has an answer within the network. No, it's late as well. It's late, I know.
Jonas.
Yeah.
Yes, mine is not a question, but it's a suggestion. It's a suggestion that in the long run, if we want to continue and have these meetings on a monthly basis, and then continue to help each other. What if we I know we are MCN partners, but what if it's possible that we form something like a consortium whereby we have got all the organizations that we are working together and then trying to help each other in terms of fundraising or whatever issues or challenges that organizations may face. We form such sort of a consortium, even when we try to help each other as organizations. Is that a suggestion?
Yeah, it's a lovely idea. I agree with you. That's definitely something we could grow into. So I'm fully with you there. I also, when it comes to fundraising, I agree. Sometimes you see proposals where you think, oh, we are not big enough for that, or we would need, a bit more muscle. And you want to reach out to 3-4 other organizations, like, shouldn't we put something in together, So I agree. I think that's the space, but I also think a consortium, you only want to start. We need to build that trust. We need to create that feeling for each other. We need to get to know each other as organizations. So I think we could grow into that. I'm sure once we met more often, once we worked with each other more often, there could be definitely those developments, and I would support that very much, Namadani. Thanks for that. Cool.
Just from my side, from what I'm hearing, from what everyone's sharing about what stood out and what they want more of, I also want you to know you're not limited to the sessions that Masifunde sets. As we always mention, the network is established through your sharing, through you reaching out. You can ask me for somebody's number if you don't already have it, if it's not in the group chat, things like that. When we're establishing that trust and that relationship, it shouldn't be limited to only that one training week, and it shouldn't be limited to what Masifunde arranges. Thank you. Okay, I think that is all.
I think so too. That was the first session. Let's sink it. Let it sink in. Feel free to give us feedback, especially a constructive or negative feedback. One usually, especially in South Africa, one doesn't want to give that directly. So feel free to drop us an email afterwards. You say like, "Hi, Jonas, you were a time vampire," or next time do ABC. Give us that feedback or give it to Debane, because we don't have funding for that. We just try to create that space, and we do it for the love of the nonprofit work. So we want to make sure it adds value. So let us know if there's anything we could do better to make use of that space. But yeah, thanks from my side. I always enjoy stuff like that. So looking forward to the next round.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, especially Alyssa, guys. Alyssa's been trying for the past hour and a half, if not 2 hours, to join the session. So thank you so much. The determination, despite network, is truly wonderful. Thank you. And just for spending time, and even though we're going over time, no one complained. So we really do appreciate your support and making this our space and not Masifunde's. Yeah. So we'll be in touch then going forward. Message me. We'll be in touch when the next session will be. Many said bi-monthly. We'll look into that. We'll look into what's sustainable as well, so that we can start and be consistent in what we agree upon. Yeah. Otherwise, have a lovely day further, and have a good one. Yeah.
Yes, and let us practice our elevator pitch.
Yes.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Have a good evening, everyone.
Thank
Ciao.
you very much.